Welcome again. This is the video for the At the Court of the Great King, an example of setup for 2, 3 or 4 players. I will be doing the motions required for the preparation of the card game for various number of players. So first thing, we need to decide how many players we are playing with. The procedure remains basically the same, but certain steps may vary depending on the number of the players involved. Let's say that I am setting up the uh, two-player game. First, I need to shuffle the event deck and deal out cards to both players. So there are 30 cards. I am going to deal 3 cards to each player. Let's say that the top player receives the 3 and the bottom 3, and we can see them for a moment. Right now it doesn't matter. What matters is that 2 players each have 3 cards, 3 event cards. Then what happens next? We are left with 24 event cards. They need to be split into 6 piles to cover all 6 crisis cards. So I will just shuffle those in, but before I will do this, because we want to make a game a little more interesting for a certain reason that is not necessarily right now apparent, I will randomly add a 7th crisis into the event deck. So now the numbers will not be even. Oh well, tough. It's not easy to be a designer, but at least the 7 crisis cards in the draw deck for 2 players make for interesting game. So what happens next is basically me splitting the cards into the 6 piles. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. It will take only a moment. And of course there is usual example of my mishandling the cards. I always have found it difficult to shuffle the cards, and I do mean in card games in general. So we have 6 piles. One is of 6 cards. We have to shuffle each pile separately, so we don't know where exactly the crisis cards is within each pile, and then just bring those piles together in any order that we wish. So we have 31 event cards. Before we will start the game, we have to seed the court. We need courtiers in our game. So in two-player game, the court consists of 8 courtier cards. So I give it a shuffle and I put them face down below the king's card. The exact ordering of those cards is not important. The convenience of players that will be able to see what is on those cards, what are the values, and what are the what is the text saying on the courtier cards. This will be important. For the sake of our example, I will assume that we have green player and yellow player. So next step that is happening, we are actually, both players have to claim 2 of the courtiers of their choice, but the players have to make this decision before actually seeing the courtiers that they claim. Claiming means we put the influence marker showing 2 masks, so full influence, so called, in any order that we want, but there may be only one influence token per each courtier card at any given moment. So now we see that this courtier and this courtier belongs to the green player, this obviously to the yellow. We flip the courtiers, and now we have to assign the titles that will probably give some victory points or glory points to the players at the very beginning, but also will help us indicate who is the one to begin the game. So the one thing that needs to be understood is the number in the bottom right corner of each courtier card. It's the rank, and the titles, they also have ranks. There is only one king, and we will not be claiming this title, but we can be contesting for the other titles. The chief minister, the first title with the rank 2, we start from the lower one mm, after the king, goes to the courtier with the rank that is the lowest among the revealed cards. In this case, Achaeus, green player courtier, will receive the title of the chief minister. Strategos will go to the next courtier higher than 4. Out of the revealed ones, it must be Ptolemy, so Ptolemy will become a strategos. Admiral, 4, 6, 8. Then Heliodorus, yellow player courtier, will be admiral. Treasurer, 8, 11 is the next. This is the courtier that is not claimed, but those courtiers also can receive titles. And governor, after 11, 12. So the all titles have been assigned. Each title is worth 1 victory point. So yellow player has now 2 victory points, and it needs to be marked on the scoring board. Green player, by the luck of the draw, also receives 2 points. So we seem to be facing towards a tie. What is important also, the person who has the lowest rank of a title is the first player to play the first round. So if we will assume that green player is sitting right now at the top of the table, those are his cards or their cards. Those are the cards for the yellow player. Now the game begins effectively by the first player drawing the first card, revealing it, and either it is a crisis card or it's the event card. The difference is easy to spot because the event cards, they all have the numbers in the corner. If there is no number of ranging from 1 to 3, such a card needs to be placed publicly, uh, unlike the hands of the players. The green player, before he will make his first movement, needs to draw a card that is not a crisis. So what will follow from now on is the green player taking the first choice in the game of playing one card for either the points, operation points, or for the various symbols that are present on the cards, and those symbols constitute what can be understood as an event. So this is the setup for 2 players. Thank you for your attention.